Hey guys, Marsinger here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so the Million Arena is finally over, and the leaderboard has been posted for the top 30, the final winners who will receive the final reward, which I believe, as it turns out, is basically just a title. So it's not anything super crazy, but obviously it is something that, you know, is a badge of honor, kind of like the world tournament titles that you get for winning or being in the top 5 and all that kind of stuff. However, there has been some serious controversy over this, and you will have probably seen a lot of posts, a lot of people complaining. You can go and look at the Million Arena tweets that Dokkan has put out and see all of the negative responses. And we're not just talking about the event itself and how it was generally not very well received because of how mind-numbing and annoying the event is, having to reset over and over again. You know, typical. We've talked about it in multiple videos, right? You guys know why I don't like the punching bag. I'm sure you know why you don't like it. But here's the interesting thing. So this is the top 30 list that was posted for the top 30 winners. Bear in mind, remember that on the screen when you're playing the game, if you get the 999999 damage, right, that is a visual cap. You can do more damage than that, you just can't see a number higher than that on the screen. So that's how this will have worked out, right? Like, all of these 30 people will have got the 999, but it depends, they actually did way more damage than that. And so the top 30 amounts of damage, they actually mentioned this in like a news update saying that, you know, there's only a visual cap, but they can see behind the scenes like how much damage was done. Now, I had a quick look at this when it was first posted, and I didn't really think much of it, like anything too crazy. However, one thing I did notice is that you take a look at the list of names, and there are no names on here that stand out to me at all as names that I recognize, which, you know, doesn't necessarily mean anything. Somebody like one of the big global whales or a YouTuber or something isn't necessarily going to make it into the top 30. But this is something that will come into play later. So, yeah, this is the title that you get, and that is essentially the reward that was being played for. So the controversy seems to be that a lot of people, there's a lot that's gone into this, right? It's not just people who are salty that they didn't get into the top 30 trying to like make excuses or anything like that, but it seems that after people have done some investigation and some calcs and all this kind of stuff, that these top 30 people, almost entirely, the entire 30 potentially, have all modded or cheated in some way in order to get these top 30 scores, right? What's really funny as well is you can see here, joint 6th, we have 2 people, which means they got the exact same score, which, I mean, that can happen, of course, but that's very interesting that that happened at one spot on the menu. So if we take a look at some of the tweets, right? So this is the global tweet that they put out. Celebration, first Million Arena winners. I love how they put first, as it like implying that they're going to do this again. But I think after the feedback that they get, maybe that will change. So we're distributing awards to the top 30 players. Congratulations. And then, of course, we'll cover this other tweet. But yeah, modders and bots, show us the scores of the top 30 players so we can see their modded scores and see that you guys did no checking of it on global like you did on JP. So happy for the 30 winners, said Toon. Yeah, top 30 modders. Of many challenges, we're distributing awards to the top 30 modders. Never do this again. Minato, why did you lie to us, Global Dokkan? Because it says, please note that accounts found violating the TOS or conducting improper behavior are excluded from the rankings. Modders in the top 30, no DPS displayed, no transparency, worst game mode ever created, shame on you. So as you can see, like, people very, very unhappy. Never do million cheaters again. That raccoon image is so cursed. Top 30 modders get rewards, put the scores on the leaderboards. I'm not happy that I lost to modders when I actually supported the game and had the best possible setup. Somebody with a rainbow TN. Drop the survey. Yeah, so congratulations to top 30 modders. So there's a reason why people think this, right? And this is going to be wild. They're going to do a player survey regarding Million Arena. And as this first reply from Toon here points out, your intern better have a thick skin when regarding these surveys. It's not going to be pretty. So for those of you that have been following along so far, like I said, this isn't just people being salty. And you might be thinking, as I was when I first saw this massive outcry, well, how do people know that these people are modders, right? Because is it just people being salty that they didn't get in the top 30? So I made this tweet. What's the deal with the Million Arena results drama? How do people know a bunch of the winners were modding or cheating? And we have a very detailed breakdown here from Brother Russia, who's one of the big global whales that I will go through here in a minute. There's a more limited version here. But yeah, somebody actually tagged him because this guy, if you don't know who Brother Russia is, one of the biggest global whales, he is someone who was part of the, or still has the Discord that used to be the big chain battle support Discord. So you could join the Discord. It was full of whales. People would add you to their friends list so that you could use their setups, their supporters to get chain battle high scores. And then obviously they would remove you and add other people. So they basically offered this service so that people could join for free. I say service, but you know, just to help out the community so that you could join and get these chain battle scores. Now, obviously chain battle isn't a thing anymore, but the Discord server still exists and it has some of the biggest whales on global, especially in this server. So here is the breakdown for how we essentially know that these people cheated to get these top 30 scores, right? So point number one, there was only one specific team, combination or rotation that you needed to score the absolute highest score in the event that was calculated by the APT guys. You needed to have all the specific units while also having a rainbow STRTN with precise rotations and Magetta double supering in turn 2 to achieve the highest score possible. Now remember, at the end of the day with Dokkan, there's a lot of RNG that goes into it when it comes to things like summoning, where the enemy's going to super, all that kind of stuff. But at the very core, at the very heart of the game, this is a numbers game, right? You can, if you know the right numbers, you can use the equation that fits whatever the scenario is to work out exactly what something is going to be. So for something like Million Arena, if you work out exactly the rotation, the support, all the links, all of these numbers, all of these percentages, you can calculate, as long as you know the right way to do it, which obviously many people in the community do, the people that work out and post calcs and stuff like that, you can work out exactly how much damage can be done with a certain setup, just the same way you can work out exactly how much damage certain characters will take from certain bosses and all that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day it is all numbers, it is all maths. Like behind the awesome animations and the PNGs and the flashing colors, it's all cold hard stats that cannot be like changed, right? Like if you know the correct equation, you can exactly work out to the single digit how much damage certain things are going to do in the game. So people worked out exactly how much the maximum amount of damage you could actually do in this event was, and that's essentially what this point is saying, right? There's one specific combination which will give you the absolute highest score, and you can't get any higher than that, right? So bear that in mind, right? We know, it doesn't say here what it is, unfortunately, but we know exactly what the highest amount of damage was possible to be done, and you would not be able to get any higher than that legitimately, right? So number two, not a single name that's listed in the top 30 are names that anyone who is active in the community has ever seen before, whether it was during Chain Battle, World Tournament, or even just seeing their names in passing while playing the game. Now, this is something I mentioned when I said I looked at the list and I didn't recognize any of the names. Now, that's not necessarily on its own like a kill shot kind of point, because you know, there could be people out there that are these massive whales that love the game and go all in for these kind of events, but they don't like post on social media, they're not in Discord like and stuff like that, right? But it is on its own, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it is just an extra point that is kind of suspicious, that some of the people who are known in the community for being the biggest whales and like the biggest tryhards, none of them are in the top 30, right? And then number three, there are default names on there, i.e. beat, default name given when you create your Dokkan account originally. Any person who's been playing long enough to have changed their name from the default name to something more unique to them, obviously not shown on the list. I mean, there are some that are names that I see people have where they've got like DB in front of it, like a dot and stuff like that, but yeah, nothing I recognize. Number four, Blade 5, which is apparently literally the name of a Dokkan modding tool, is ranked at 29. So that means that someone who used the modding tool didn't even change their in-game name. So it literally just says 29 Blade 5. So if you use the modding tool and you don't change your name in game or anything, like that is just what it's called, right? And you can see these characters, like these default names. We've got Beat. I think Goku is on there multiple times. Yeah, there's Goku. There's another Goku there. So yeah, that's an interesting point as well. So they're number 5. Members of my Discord server have achieved the perfect rotation, perfect RNG, and they are not in the top 30. So this is one of the big points. This is kind of the main one, and it comes back to what we talked about in point 1. So it was calculated exactly what the perfect setup is to get the ultimate perfect score. And people in this Discord managed to get that. So they're not in the top 30. Now, I guess technically, if multiple people get the exact perfect rotation, then only 30 people can make it into the list. And the number is going to differ, I guess. Like the ultimate top perfect score you can get is going to be, there is going to be a cap, right? Like there isn't the ability, like if we work out the absolute maximum possible score that is legitimately achievable, it's not possible for someone to do that but like 1 point of damage higher, because the ultimate maximum has been worked out, right? And so this is saying that the ultimate maximum was achieved by a couple of people in this Discord server, and they're not in the top 30. But in theory, if there is a maximum damage that can be reached legitimately, then all of those people should be joint number 1, because it's impossible to get any higher than that. And apparently none of those people are even in the top 30, which means that every single score in the top 30 is modded because it's higher than the possible score that you should legitimately be able to get. So that's where the main point comes in. That's what I want to stress. Like if you, hopefully I've explained it well enough, but there is literally a maximum amount of damage that you can do legitimately, and people who did that maximum damage aren't in the top 30. Whereas if everybody was legit, all of those people should be joint first, because it's impossible to do more damage than that. So this is definitely a super bad look for Dokkan. This survey is going to go very badly, because people did not like this event as it is anyway. And then the fact that it's turned out that like the people that made it through to the end all cheated. Because like, remember we talked about when we got from the preliminary to the semi and then to the final, such low scores were required to even get through the first 2 phases, because so many people just didn't really even bother playing it. Only for the people who were then in the final top 30,000, only 30 of them were going to get through to the very final like podium, and all of those 30 spots are taken up by people that modded, which is absolutely insane. Because remember, like we have this post here, this reply from Minato that pointed out the thing. This is the message that they put on like the world tournament. Where is it? Where did his reply go? Where's Minato? Where's he gone? Well, he showed a screenshot of it, and now I can't find it. Yeah, it's there. I scrolled past it multiple times. This is the same thing they put on the World Tournament to try and discourage people from modding, because in these events where you're actually competing against other people in the community, if you mod, you are directly, like, negatively affecting other players. So this is supposed to be, like, a thing that they should do to control for those outside factors, and seemingly they just haven't done that, which is strange, because for the World Tournament we have seen in the past like people who've modded the World Tournament get banned. So it's interesting to see that this has kind of slipped through the cracks this time. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Like I say, I know a lot of people don't really care about this event anyway, but for people who actually did try, and especially because I think it was this person down here, yeah, like somebody who actually rainbowed the new summonable unit. This was like the way that you needed to get the top score, which we've already discussed, I think sucks. There was like paywalled that the only way to get the high score was to have like a rainbow version of the newest summonable LR. But people who actually did that, like, still weren't able to get into the top 30 because people cheated, which is absolutely crazy. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. What do you think the outcome of this will be? Do you think Million Arena will get scrapped completely going forwards? It will certainly be interesting to find out what happens. But yeah, that's the controversy or the drama of the Million Arena thing summed up. let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.